So here we go, just comparing the two right here. Good to know that it looks exactly the same. Hey everyone, I've been having an issue with this car here. This is a 2013 Honda Accord with the 2.4 liter 4-cylinder automatic transmission with the CVT. So yesterday I was at work, and when I finished work, about to go home, this car would not start. Only thing it did, which told me that this thing has a battery, everything lights up, you hear a clicking noise, and the car doesn't start. And it takes you one try, two tries, to almost, yesterday it took me almost 8 or 9 tries. So hopefully this car starts. It's been sitting for about 10 plus hours overnight. It's 7 a.m. in the morning today, and I have to put a starter in this thing. That's what I've diagnosed. So let's see if I can get it to act up and it does the clicking noises and sounds, and if it doesn't start. So foot's on the brake. Here we go. So of course this thing starts up now. So I don't want to take a chance anymore with this thing stranding me if I'm down anywhere. I'm actually happy that this thing started, and we'll start on the repair. First thing we have to do, guys, is open up the hood and disconnect the batteries. Right here. So we have the battery terminals right here. This is the power cable, and this is your ground. Red is always power. And we'll just disconnect this, put it off to the side. We'll disconnect this one and put it off to the side. Anytime you guys are taking off the battery terminals, you guys have to be very careful taking off the power and the ground. First thing you should do is always take the ground off. By the way, once you take this off, most likely you're gonna need to get your radio code, and you can probably get it from the dealer, or most likely you'll probably have it in your glove box in the owner's manual and all the paperwork that comes with your car. So here's the cable. I'm putting it off to the side here, just making sure it doesn't touch anything. Same thing with the power one. You can also see the connection here is a bit dirty, corroded, and you should take care of that. It just helps make a better connection, and your car runs that much better. And you got to be very careful when you're touching this not to make contact with any other piece of metal, because you can have a spark and it's not really fun. Okay, so this is loose. There we go. That's a nice dirty corroded connection. I'm gonna put it off to the side here. Yeah, so just touching on the plastic, not anything else. And now the battery's fully disconnected and we're ready to get started. So we're here on the driver's side of the car. If you can look at this seam right here, go up. This is the driver's mirror, and just showing you where to put the jack stand or the pump jack. See this area right here, this is on both sides. So you're going to use this to jack up the car, which is made by factory on all cars. And there's one like this on each side, in the front and in the rear, whenever you have to do any kind of service and the car has to be lifted up. So I'm going to get this started, and once it's on the stands, I'll show you guys from there. So here's the first jack stand. Once I lifted up the car, it's placed right underneath that pinch point, and as you can see, the car is off the ground, and I will be going over to the other side and doing the same exact thing. And one thing I forgot to mention, make sure your parking brake is applied fully and that your brakes in the back actually do work. And even then, you can actually chalk the wheels with anything available, or actual chalks that you can buy, and they're pretty cheap. So I'll be going over to that side and let me show you that process. So this is the front of the car, and as you can see, this is the front bumper on the passenger side. And if you come down right here, you have this point that's part of the body, and you can actually use it to raise the car, which I am going to do. So guys, I have the wheels chalked in the back. I have this jack here used to raise this side of the car, the passenger side, and on the driver's side I have the jack stand in place where it should be. And usually you should go around and grab the car safely, just give it a nice wiggle, make sure the car does not move, make any noises or any sudden shifts, which is what you don't want. So I'll go around and do that and just confirm that the car is secure, and then I can start doing the starter. Okay, underneath the car, you can see it's secure there. I got the jack stand on this side here. I did the shake test. It did not move. My rear brakes are applied. And now I got a light that's already stuck in there. And you can see in between the exhaust and this is the oil pan drain right there. That's the window that we're going to be working from. And it's a bit tight, but I'll try to do my best to show you guys exactly where everything is. That bolt right there in the center, that is your oil pan drain. That's your axle shaft that goes over to the passenger side wheel. And this is your exhaust, the flex pipe in the middle, and the window that you can see. Here's a shaft that coming through. And that right there, that says Honda right there, that's the starter. You can see it's rust because we live here in Canada. And that rusted bolt that's right in front, let me see if I can see that right here, that's the bottom of the alternator, and there's one at the back at the top. So just come around the exhaust here, and that's us looking at the starter in between this oil pan and the intermediate shaft. So I'm going above. So here's the actual first clip that you guys can see right here. So this is what we need to actually remove. I gotta figure out if I have to pull it down or push it up. I have a very thin flathead, and I'll be using that to remove it. And then if you go around the top here, you could see the clip right there, and that also has a tab on the top which you can grab, and that one you have to push down and pull back on. Let me get my hand in here somehow. Okay, so this right here, this is what I'm talking about. So that's the electrical clip that you have to do, and this right here, this cable, that's the rubber boot, and that's the power stud, I believe, that goes to the starter body, and this is the wire. So this thing is very, very tight, just like every video that I watched. And this is the first bolt. So I'm going to get these two connections disconnected, and then I'm going to go for this bolt. And then we have the one back here that's hidden very nicely, which right there, that one there. This is a very long bolt that you can see in between. And I believe these are both 14 mil. And I'll get started on that, and then once I have it figured out, I can show you guys from there. I got my socket on there with a long extension and a 1/2 inch ratchet that's in the back here. So this is a very, very tight operation. Bottom mount, I'm gonna get that. I was having a hard time taking the boot off for the power stud, or the cable that goes to the top with the 10 mil nut. So this is my 10 mil 1/2 inch with a long extension that goes over to my ratchet right there. So I've already broken it loose, And I am pretty much just slowly turning it by hand right here. So there you go. So let me get this out and then I'll work my way on the one at the top. The bolt right here, almost out. And I use this little tiny baby ratchet. I put that on there and then just got it loose. And now it's pretty much out. So that's it. That's the bottom bolt. Now I'm going to make my way to the one at the top, and it should make it easier for me to get at the cable that's stuck. Hard to read. So I got my ratchet right here, looking through this hole on the other side, and it's on the socket there, or on the nut. And you can just reach in from this elbow here, or this area, and you can crack the nut and start taking that bolt out. So you guys can see now that the starter is out of the housing right there. I got the bottom bolt that was right there, and that's the top bolt right there. What I suggest doing is going for the top bolt first, because it's harder to get at. And if you were to take it out from the bottom first, which I did, all the weight of the starter starts hanging on the actual bolt, and it becomes a struggle to take it off. So it's better you take that one off first, do the second, because it's easier to get at. So now the starter's here, fully loose. I'm just about to take that cable off. It's much easier now. It's pointed right towards us, and you can put a socket on there. I believe that's a 12. So that's the very last thing to get at. Once I do this, then I can everything's disconnected. So we have the old starter here, and this is technically how it's mounted inside. This is the bottom, which this bolt was inside. It goes like this. This is what you want to leave for last. This here is a longer bolt that goes to the top. So you want to get this first, take this out where this is still supported by this one, and then once you remove this, it's easier to get at. You can just kind of take this back out. This is your electrical connector, and this is a tab that you have to press down and pull back. And this here is your stud for the power, I believe, and this is the nut that came off of it, 12 mil, like that. So once you take it out, just be very, very careful that you don't lose anything and you don't break this or that. And you don't want to tighten this too much once you're putting it back on, because this is plastic, it can break. And also same with this, you don't want to push too hard and this can break as well, and could be a big mess. So here we got our new starter. Let's open up this bad boy. So here we go, just comparing the two right here. Good to know that it looks exactly the same. And I got the starter back in. That's the bottom bolt there. Got the top bolt there in the back. So that's the bolt back there, that one. So you want to put the bottom one in first, here. Put that in because that's the easiest one. It will get the starter started in the hole, and it will be easier to line that bolt up afterwards because you're going in blind and you can't really see anything. So I put the clip back in, which is right there, and I got the stud, the main cable, mounted back in its spot, and tightened it up before putting the starter in the hole, which is easier, just like how I took it out. Only thing left to do is put this cable, this back onto this bracket here, and then this job is done. It's not very hard, but it's not easy either. And also doing it outside in the cold on your back makes it harder when you're recording. So I hope to help everybody out. I'm just gonna quickly wipe away some of this corrosion here. Just get it all out. The terminal itself looks pretty clean. This one here, ground side. And we'll put on the connections. You always want to put on the power first, and then the ground goes on last. That way you do not get a spark. If you do it the other way, you create the full circuit and this here will spark, and I don't really want to deal with that. I don't think anybody wants to deal with that. So let's tighten it up. Should have the socket, but that's underneath the car right now. It's freezing cold. It's January. It's minus 10 outside, or even lower. And then when you're on your back doing a starter, not a lot of fun. So not too tight. It's only a 10 mil, so there you go. That's tight enough. Close it back up. Come over to this side here. You might see the smallest spark here when you put it on, but that's okay. There you go. And you just want to make sure that it's snug, not super tight. And that's pretty much it. Last step, we're going to go inside, start it up. But first, I have to clean up everything and get ready, make sure it's on the ground. I got the starter in. Car is on the ground. And let's go and give it a try. Foot on the brake, keys in my pocket, push to start. There you go, guys. So that's how you replace a starter. And noticing the sound of this starter compared to the old one, this one here sounds a lot more smoother, and I think it starts slightly quicker than it did before. So I hope this helps everybody out. As you can see there, this car has 318,459 kilometers. I don't know what that is in miles, but that's a lot of mileage. This is my daily driver, and good to go, back on the road.